Live from the East Lansing Underground, this is 88.9 bringing you The Basement. And we have a really awesome band in here tonight that some of you may actually have gotten a chance to hear before. Tonight we're with Elephant Den, and they played at Rock the Wreck earlier this year around participation and absolutely killed it. It's actually how we connected for the show tonight, and I'm so pumped for y'all to hear just how incredible they've been doing and hear them in studio if you didn't get a chance to see them live.
Woo!
Thank you.
All right, so let's kick things off with Lovin'.
Thank you.
Wow. I'm going to cry. Wow.
Stop. That's too much.
No, that's not too much. First of all, welcome to the Basement Show. How are you two feeling tonight?
Feeling great. Thank you for having us.
First and foremost, tell us your names.
My name is Dante. And I'm Ben.
Okay, well, then who is Elephant Den?
Dante and Ben. Yeah, we've been making music together for a long time. Maybe like 10 years now? I don't even know. Long time. This is the first time that we've been
10?
playing.
Yeah, about like off and on though.
Off and on. Just one of those friendships where you kind of come in back and forth and play music. And then last year and a half ago, we started playing live.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So when did you two fully come together and establish Elephant Den? We're like, we're doing this. We're in it for good. Let's start doing shows.
It's 2024, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Currently, yes.
Yes, currently, yes.
2022?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what's the origin story? Like, what was the switch?
I'd say the pandemic, he started writing a lot of his music and actually releasing it. He was, like many artists, people would make a bunch of music and have a whole discography and then never release it because they're like, oh, I don't know, or never finish it. He started releasing it, and I mean, we just kind of, a lot of these songs are from that time, and we've kind of just morphed them into a live set.
Yeah.
Do you think the best music came from COVID? As for any artist in general?
I don't know.
I don't know. I've heard some people say that on Twitter. So
I
It
think
worked for me.
It
I
created
mean-
a lot of opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Money started
Defi-
rolling in.
Yeah, money started rolling in from the government, and we took advantage. Started playing music,
As you
and
should.
As we
really just
should.
put all that money into the art. I mean, I got into photography, and now me and him use both of our skills as much as we can. I play drums, I do photography. He started learning how to do graphic design, so we do all of our own stuff.
Which is worth noting that your social media, all of the visuals and the graphics that go along with the music you release is in its own right, like
Thank you.
incredible work. And that's all sourced from the two of you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, completely us. We
Yeah.
just started kicking into overdrive this past year, and that's why like we're super excited for what's to come because we're just nonstop just working on the next thing. So, and it's a little dry right now, our Instagram, just because we kind of just started figuring out what we needed, but I think we found it.
honestly, quality over quantity, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, it felt
100%.
like it took a long time to kind of find like our lane of like what we wanted to do, but once we found it, I feel like
Yeah,
just
definitely.
drive it home, you know.
Is that musically or is it with your creative vision overall?
I think a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what is that lane? If we're okay, this is a genre. It's totally new. We're making a
Yeah.
name for it.
I don't know. I feel like there's like a psychedelic element into it.
Yeah,
There's a
I'd say
little bit-
psychedelic.
yeah, psychedelic. There's
a lot of
little bit
vintage-
pop, you know. I don't know.
I think a lot of vintage, a lot of analog. We kind of go for the analog sound. A lot of even our visuals kind of match that, and that's kind of the cohesiveness that we've kind of found now. Whereas before, we really were just kind of spitballing and figuring out how to get that, and we
Yep.
kind of finally found a really good. I don't know, just a momentum. I feel like we're finally on that road.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
Yeah. Analog in a very true sense too, right? Like you brought your camera tonight, you
Yeah.
shoot film, and I think you said the last video on your Instagram was like shot on VHS or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that.
he had gotten that from, was it your father-in-law?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were shooting with the Super 8 for a while, but it just got too expensive.
So expensive.
It was like $150 for like a roll. So it was kind of like, dude, we got to throw this out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this came in clutch. It was sick.
Mm-hmm.
What do you value about that, like the hands-on experience?
I mean, that's probably more for you.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of got more. I feel like he got more into it because of me, because I started getting into film photography during COVID, and I think my favorite thing is that there isn't that instant gratification when you do it. Like I take pictures. You can take pictures on your phone. You immediately see it, and I think for me, what I loved is that I have to wait until I finish a roll and then have to take it to somewhere to get it developed, or I'd have to develop it myself, and it's like I'll forget what pictures I took, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, I remember this moment. Like I totally. Like there's just so many moments where you kind of just let pass by, and it's a lot, I try to take it in the moment whenever I see something that I'm like, oh, I feel like I want to capture this, and I'll forget that I have, and then we'll see it later on and be like, oh my god, this was such a beautiful moment.
Well, especially when you got like 2 rolls in there too, or 2, 3, 4, 5, how many, and you're scanning them all.
Yeah,
And you're like,
they're
oh my
just-
god, dude, I forgot about this.
It's like a little time capsule
Yeah.
too. It's I don't know, I think it's really cool.
No, it's truly amazing. And then the stuff that it does on its own too, the things that aren't intended that just like show up from
Oh, yeah.
distortion or from like light bleed, and
Yeah.
it creates beautiful art that you couldn't have conceived on your
Yeah, he
own.
was loving that a lot at first because he saw what I was doing. He's like, oh, let me get into it. He started buying like very, very cheap cameras to where like he's like, oh, I want light bleed. I want as messed up as
Yeah.
it can. And then it got
So
to
much
again, it
grain.
got to a point where like it was so messed up that we're like, oh, this could have been a good picture, but now it's all messed up.
Yeah.
But
Where do you
yeah.
find that in your music? Kind of like the accidental beauty and the joy of experimentation.
I think there's a lot of production on a lot of the songs, but we try to keep it simple as well. Like try not to over produce it, I guess. I don't
yeah,
know, yeah.
I'd say same thing with
Everything's simple too. Like we're
Yeah.
not really. I mean, he's playing like super gnarly stuff, but like, you know, I'm 2 chords over here, but we try to let the arrangement kind of do more of the.
do all the work. We
Yeah.
kind of just give it a back and forth, let it breathe, whatever the song is really calling for. It's kind of the same thing as photography, where like there's a moment and we're trying to capture it. And the same thing with photography for me, where it's like, since I can't really edit all that much, or I don't really see what I'm getting, we're doing all the work beforehand to where everything is as clear as we want it, or as muddy as we want it to sound. And then through that, it's a lot easier on the back end, because then you have kind of the idea of what you're trying to get.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered shooting a music video with film?
Yeah,
I mean,
think we're a little too broke for that right now.
Yeah, definitely. Way down the line.
I don't think you need a budget for.
If a label would want to sign us and they have a budget, I'm down to waste their budget. But
You don't need a budget for a good video.
That's
true.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
film, you definitely need a budget though, just because it's just so like you have to take it and it's so expensive. But
Right.
I'm so open to it because we would
Yeah,
love to do it. We'd absolutely love
That'd
to.
be super sick. Yeah.
So have you always been into photography?
No, I got into it late. Like
Said
it was
COVID?
just COVID. I was kind of just doing it for fun, and then I got a fridge full of film that I bought, thinking it was like, because if you freeze film, it stays good for a long time. And this was all film from the '90s, and I didn't understand that there was different kinds of film. So the film I got was like a fridge full. What I found out later is worth like $1,500, but I got it for like
that's
$150.
insane.
Yeah, and it's all film that's like they don't sell anymore. But the thing is that I have to develop myself. None of the places out there develop it cheaply. It's super expensive to get developed. So I had like, all right, well, I guess I'm fully invested now. So then I just started shooting as much as possible, and then kind of just fell in love with it. And then it worked perfectly, because now when we're making music and we need to make, posters or whatever, I send him pictures. He'll edit them, put them on a poster. We've been making like animations lately, and almost all of them are with like pictures that we take ourselves. So it was a beautiful process.
That's so cool. Having great artwork will get you far in the music industry. I'll say that. I think I appreciate the picture just as much as the song sometimes. Like, I don't know, because
Agreed.
the picture really tells a story, and it pulls you in, and it really just sets the tone even before you watch it. And especially with an album cover. So would you say you're the photographer, you're kind of the graphic artist?
Yeah.
In a way?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
do both, but
Yeah. Oh no, it's definitely him. He's all graphic design. I'm all
Okay.
photography. Me and him actually. A lot of the songs we've been playing now are mostly him, and I helped in a couple of them here and there.
Yep.
But all the music we've been making forward, it's just me and him, kind of just in a room. Well, right now we've been going up north to a cabin in Mayo, and just like spending like days there, just thinking of whatever. We'll talk about whatever problems are going on in our lives or whatever's going on, and we just kind of make a song out of it. Sometimes I'll tell him something personal, and he'll make a song out of it, and I'm like, all right, I'll let it go. Because it's open. It's like, the thing is that's where music comes from, is those kind of moments that we share. And he'll just get an idea like, oh, that's a good line. And like sometimes he won't even tell me, and then we'll start writing, and he'll write it, and
That's
I'm
my
like,
favorite.
yeah, he'll
Just like put it in the back of the brain and like turn around.
yeah, and then like
Right.
and then he's like, oh, I got this idea, and then he'll go through a verse, and I'm like, that's from our conversation. But yeah, I think, yeah, definitely we're I think a perfect team. Just he does graphic design, I do photography, and we just whenever we're working together, it's just there's just synergy there, whatever that
it's
means.
easy.
I just always wanted to use that word.
Now for your
did
next
successfully,
song, Tongue, I loved the graphic artwork for the cover art for that song.
I think that was the
yeah.
first time I ever used Photoshop.
Whose tongues were they?
Those were like just all of my friends.
Oh,
Yeah.
for real?
Yeah. Yep.
That makes it even better.
Yep, I
Yeah.
really wanted to do like a collage, and so I was just messaging people. I was like, "Yo, dude, can you send me like a picture?" of your tongue real quick?"
Send me your tongue.
I was like, and they're like, "Oh, what do you mean?" I was like, "Yeah, just stick it out and like like a good like selfie." And they're like, "I don't know." I was like, "Yo, it'll be sick. You'll love it." Like, so I had some people who were like, "Nah, dude," and some people were like, "Yeah, all right, for sure."
That's sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
That's
it
such a
worked
good
out.
story,
It was
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I would have had to like brush my tongue or something. I don't know. Anyways, I need an explanation right now on why 2022 was a dream.
Relationship troubles.
Oh, why?
I was
If you
being
want
a
to get
dummy.
into it.
Yeah, I was being a dummy. That's all.
Ben was being a dummy for sure.
Yeah, I was.
In what ways, Ben?
Just dumb.
Yeah.
Just not smart.
Yeah, the opposite of intelligent.
We've all been there, though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she's stuck around because she loves him, and we all love him.
Yep.
Just
Went off the wagon a little bit.
yeah. I happen to not.
90-year-old man.
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't
off
in
the
that.
wagon.
Yeah, I wasn't in your life for that very short
Yeah.
period. If I was there, I'm a very good moral compass. So like, if there's ever anything going wrong, I'm like, hey, I'm there. But I wasn't there that time. I was very busy. I was going to school. I graduated from U of M last year, and I was in the middle of all that U of M stuff that took way too much time.
But that's kind of why, like, I opted not to put anything else, like, lyrically in it. It's very, like, it's the same thing, you know, the whole entire song. Because when I was on that beach, I was like, dude, there's nothing else to say. I'm like, it just, like, I feel like I'm not here, like, I'm disassociating, like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I think this one is
So
just
it's
like...
just kind of like, there's nothing else to say.
Mhm.
Like, that was, I don't know.
It's very vibey. I think I forget about that all the time, that, like, there's not many lyrics. It's the same
There's
thing over and
nothing.
over again.
Yeah.
But I love it just because it is just, like, an energy of, like, this is chaos. And then at the end, of course, like, this is extra chaos of just going crazy. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Now, is this song, All of Last Year, on your recent album?
No. It's
No.
going to come out soon, though.
This will be the
Come
most...
Down?
Oh, yeah.
It's not on
on
the
the come down.
Down.
But
Okay,
this will be probably
It's
our...
going to be on the come up.
Is that what it's called?
No.
way.
I joke
No
about
way.
that all the time,
Dude,
and I'm like, no,
no, we
definitely
can't.
not.
No. We don't have a name.
We don't have a name. No.
That's the
Yes,
name of the
there was a
album.
very like cryptic post on your Instagram about this album and how
we're
it,
working on an album and we're not going to post anything after that for like
Yes.
2 months.
I believe it said it may or may not be coming out sometime
right.
soon. There was no information
That's
about
Yeah.
any
I wanted to be
timeline.
honest.
Yeah, that was very. Yeah, it was very honest. It was like not one of those cryptic things where like, yeah, we have all this waiting. It's more like we
We have
actually don't know.
nothing.
We're being very honest with our fans and anyone who is into us and follows us.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on it, but we do have a lot of stuff. Like,
we have like
since
10
then,
or 12 songs.
yeah,
right
we
now.
do have a lot of songs now. We're still trying to debate how we're gonna release it, whether we're gonna do it in like EPs or do it in singles or kind of figure it out. But all of last year is something we've had for a while. We've been playing for over a year now, I think, and I definitely believe that it'll probably be our first release
Yeah.
since Glass Eye, which was last summer.
So Elephant Den is cooking up in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're cooking.
It seems like it's been going well. And you guys mentioned briefly earlier that when you do recording, you do like a little retreat
We do.
Yeah, every time.
to up north or something
Yeah,
like
It's
that.
up in Mayo, which is like
Spelled MIO. It's
Oh.
kind of near Ross Common, if anyone knows that kind of area. It's like,
Is it by Tawas?
sort of, yeah. It's like
Okay.
Yeah.
35 minutes away.
Yeah, I know. Me. I thought it was called Mio. Like the.
I always
Yeah.
thought it was Mio because I speak Spanish, so I thought it was Mio.
Yeah.
But it's Mayo.
Shout out to Mio, Michigan.
Shout out to Mayo. That cabin, we do get cabin fever sometimes because there's no.
Oh,
it's
it's
like a
so
straight in the
bad.
middle of in the woods. We have to go into town to use the bathroom because there's no running water. We don't
Which
have
is
in the
usually
winter.
pretty cool, but I mean,
We don't. Also, there's no heat or cooling, so in the winter, and which is our first time kind of doing this. We start in the winter, and
Yeah.
we have to use a wood furnace, so like we have to burn logs and stuff. And sometimes it'll get super hot in there, but then it's super cold outside. So we just end up getting cabin fever. And sometimes we just kind of end up going crazy. But like the third day, we're like, all right, we need to go home. Like we should go back. We did enough work.
everything's like moving.
Yeah. We
You're
just
like, oh,
yeah.
dude.
So yeah, it
feels
gets
like a dream.
it gets a little crazy up there. So but we get super productive. I think the fact that we're in the middle of nowhere, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no signal. It's just me, my drum set, his guitar, our computer, all of our tech and stuff. And it's pretty like our practice space is kind of close to like this square footage, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's really not that big, and it's kind of all we need. But it is kind of a trek, but I enjoy it.
Two lads.
Just two
Just
lads.
two lads.
I need to stop after I said the wagon. Start pulling them out.
Yeah, Dante. I was stalking you two.
Nice.
You were on
It's
the.
our job.
It is our job.
So we're quite
we get
good.
paid to stalk you.
Yeah.
So on the Loser Island podcast, you mentioned Michigan is definitely a healthy place for you to express yourself, and I kind of agree. But can you tell us why?
I would say I think there's a lot more diversity here than some people might think, at least from outside of the state. I think one thing that I see in Detroit especially is that there is a very vibrant electronic scene, a very vibrant punk scene, a very vibrant rap scene. There's literally, I think there are a lot of very talented artists that come out of Michigan, and it's rarely going to be the type of artist that fits the mold. I think the people who fit the mold work best in areas like LA and New York, where they're just the best in that kind of like very mainstream way. But those really niche artists that you'll find, I think, I think a lot of the best ones come from Michigan. And the thing that we've noticed is that we'll play shows where it's a very mixed lineup, but there's people who play a bunch of different genres. And like, there's times where we've been invited onto a lineup where we're like, do we even belong in this lineup? There's a bunch of like this is a totally different sound than what we sound like. But everyone's so welcoming and supportive.
Agreed. At
least on like the band side. I've talked to other rappers who are on the rap side, and I think it's always kind of very competitive in the rap scene. Whereas I think with a lot of artists where it's bands and indie and alternative and stuff, people are very like welcoming, very open to helping each other.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. You've always felt that way?
I think
with the community?
you know what, I'd say so, just because I started really just going to basement shows and like DIY venues and just small venues. And I think it's kind of that thing where like there'll be certain genres that aren't the same. They're somewhat similar, like in like rock and alternative and indie and stuff like that. And then I'll end up seeing some of the same fans at those different shows where I'm like, oh, like you're also into this kind of music, even though I saw them at like a hardcore show, and maybe I went to a pop type show this time. But I'll see some people that are into a lot of different kinds of music, where I feel like I've always been able to see that. I was worried that post-COVID that wouldn't be there. And a lot of people I know who stopped going to shows feel like, oh, well, you know, it's dead. The scene's dead. People always are like that. But it's the people who aren't going there who are saying that. When you really start going out there and seeing new shows, especially new artists and like younger artists that are just coming up, like it's still around. It's still strong. I think some people who just may not involve themselves as much now post-COVID are just missing out and just kind of want to hate from the side. But I think there's a lot of beautiful work going on, and I'd love it.
Yeah, they need to get out of the house.
Yeah, get out of the house.
Get out of the house.
That's awesome to hear, though. I mean, I think living in a college town, we're pretty lucky to have an incredibly just very open scene. There's really no boundaries, because most of the people who are there are like, any music I can get my hands on, I'll be there, I'll listen, I'll be going as hard as I can in the pit. And it's kind of heartening to hear that that's not necessarily just because we're in this community of like 19 to 25 year olds all cloistered together, but that it extends elsewhere in Michigan. It's something anyone can find no matter where they're at.
Yeah, I think Lansing's always also been very good. I mean, to us as a band now, and then even before this, I used to play in a 2-piece band called Brevity, and a lot of our shows, and he went to Michigan State, so the singer and we'd always played basement shows in Lansing, and people here were always, I think maybe just Michigan State students are very nice and very open. There's some other college towns we've gone to where like they're just not as receptive or maybe open to hearing new different sounds. But I've always had an affinity for Lansing, and the people who end up coming here are usually way more chill than people from those I won't name, but yeah.
Oh, yay. That's so nice to hear. That one's for you, all our listeners out there.
Go
you are
Green.
Appreciated.
Go Wyatt.
I was going to say,
sorry, I left you hanging there. Okay. Not to backtrack here a little bit, but when you guys were talking about the cabin and the cabin fever and kind of locking yourselves up for this like intense creative session, that's something I've been thinking about a lot, because there's always been the debate of like, does great art have to come from great struggle? Big question for this early in the night, I know.
I don't know. I was thinking about that lately too. I feel much more balanced now, but maybe not as creative. But I also think I'm used to being in a more rocky state and then creating. But it's also early. It's been only a couple months of this, so I don't really.
Oh,
I
like
don't
this
think
writing
so.
process.
Maybe
Yeah.
I think it's probably anything's possible.
I'm
like leaning towards like, no, you gotta.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think in a way, I think everyone has kind of their own issues, and if you compare it to other people, maybe even the past issues we've had, it may be minimal in our mind now, but it's like everyone's going through struggles, and even then, it's like you can still pull from the positive parts of your life, and I think you can't really have those positive parts without the negative. So it's like, again, it is really that balance, and I think me and him have been very balanced lately. And I think it is the reason why everything we're doing now feels way more cohesive. Whereas before, like, I think we used to have a lot of very high highs and a lot of low lows. There'd be a lot of good creative stuff that comes out of it, but the actual work that goes into getting together and getting this thing moving really requires both of us to be mentally, like, just balanced. And I think, because he makes some great art, like, in the highs and the lows, but it's just like, if we're not both there mentally, we're like, hey, I know there's a lot going on, but we still got to push through to get this thing done, whether it be even coming here or playing a show that's far away or planning for something else or planning for social media now that we've been like putting way more effort into it. I think we really needed that balance, and now that we have that, that's why we feel like we've really gained a lot more momentum this past few months even.
Yeah, I think with struggle you can get a lot, like you said, like in the low lows, but it also can be really destructive as well. So there's, to balance that, then you kind of have to jump back from that, where it's like you might be, you know, this low, but now you're way lower, and you're like, oh, dude, I got to climb my way back up just to even try to hit my normal threshold. You know?
And trying to force yourself back up,
Yeah.
you can go back up really high, but then you're just waiting to come back down again. It's just, I think it's that slow climb of like getting everything in your life in order, both whether it be romantically or physically. If you need to work out, so like for me, that always helped me out. Is like I've been going to the gym more often lately, and just even that kind of gets my mental state just a lot more stable running. And then even for him, it's like waking up, like stretching, yoga, meditations, any of that stuff that kind of keeps us balanced and kind of ready to go, I think is super important.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you mind if I toss thought in there?
Of course.
I think fraught emotions, for lack of a better word, I think it can dissolve barriers. I think it can dissolve our understanding of things, and that seems like a big like creative burst of energy because it takes you places that you wouldn't have before. But there's a cap to it, you know. I think the growth you can experience in that state is limited as opposed to choosing to take care of yourself. Exactly. Yeah.
So how do you overcome a creative block or a writer's block? Ben, are you the key songwriter? Both of you?
Well, now it's both of us. We're doing this next.
I'd still say more him than me.
Okay.
But it all depends on the song now.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes there'll be songs that like I'll start with an idea, and it always just starts with a conversation. But
I don't know. Every time I'm in a rut, trying to find the route in the rut, I feel like it's the same thing every time. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm never writing a song again. Like, oh, this music sucks, you know? And then I'll be like, that's not, like, we just did, like, 5 last week. Like,
right.
You're complaining. It always comes back, which I think, I don't know. I don't think there is necessarily anything specific. I think it's just kind of, like, showing up and trying.
Not forcing it also. I think there's times where we'll be writing something and we'll hit a writer's block and it'll be a creative block, and instead of just let's keep on just trying, like, because sometimes we'll do that and we just burn out and like, all right, now we're not creative and we have no energy. It's like, you know what, let's chill. What's going on with your life? Or like, hey, you told me on the way up that like this has been going on, or like how's the family? Is there stuff like that? And we just start talking, get into a deep conversation that lasts an hour or two, and also something that he does that I really enjoy is that like when you're having a conversation with him, if you're just kind of chilling and it's like a really somber night, you're just having a conversation, he just starts like just playing in the background, still able to have a conversation. But I love it because he start playing, and then like, I don't know, something we'll talk about something, and at some point like he'll continue whatever he was playing, and then he'll kind of like start singing kind of like about whatever part of the conversation that whatever the theme of the conversation is or whatever it is, it kind of just starts like that. And then I'll be like, oh, that's good. And then I'll start adding on, and then it's that. And what's fun about it is that since it is a back and forth, like he'll get a really good line in, and I'm like, oh, I'm like stoked. I'm like, that's beautiful. It's awesome. And then I'll do something. And he's like, oh, this is giving me goosebumps.
We kind of play the opposites too, which is cool. Is we'll play the light and dark a lot of the time, like on a lot of lines. Like if one's positive and then one's super negative and then really positive, and then like the balance between those is.
Yeah, and then sometimes we'll just write a song and like we don't really fully understand exactly what it is, and then as we're writing it, we're like, no, you know what? This theme is better than that one. Let's take away that verse because it's going in a direction that I think we should go in this direction of either more positive, more negative, or into this specific theme, and this might muddle the theme up. So let's just, and then we just keep on going, and it's just I don't know. If it flows, and when it doesn't flow, we don't push it. We're like, all right, let's just chill.
Yep.
Gooey.
I love gooey.
Yeah, what's gooey?
Sticky.
What's sticky?
Sunshine.
It's icky.
Yeah. This was actually a mashup of songs. I had a song that I wrote a long time ago called Lungs.
Okay.
And then I just kind of never did anything with it. And then there's another song called Gooey.
So are your lungs gooey?
Huh? Very. Very.
Well,
super gooey, dude.
But before we start going, I want to know a little bit about the song. Like, is it just what we think it is, or is this just a little bit of depth to it?
Yeah, I think it's
Is this something?
did we-
this
Did
is
write
one
the-
of one. I don't really know. Again, because it was like a mix up of two different songs. It was one of those ones that
Did
just
we
kinda-
write? Did me and you and Patrick write Gooey, the first one, iteration, or was it just me and you?
Yes, it was. I think we
All
had
three of us?
multiple different versions of it. I think. me
Yeah,
and Pat,
we had a
you
lot of
and me.
different versions of it. I had some contributions. So I don't even remember what. It was something that's probably small, but yeah. And then Lungs, I forgot what Lungs was actually, but yeah, he had just this mashing of it. I mean, I forget. I can't think of the verses off the top of my head right now.
Neither can I.
But
Okay.
sorry.
Cool. Let's hear
I
it.
get it once the song's going, but
Elephant Den, everyone.
we can probably explain it a bit after we play it. You good?
Yeah, I think so. Hope so.
I'm speechless.